Hi, I'm Vicki. Welcome to Make Life Special and another visit in Vicki's kitchen. Today's success secret is all about how to avoid food poisoning. And this is such an important topic that those of us who are cooking food for ourselves and for other people, that we understand some of the basics of it. And I actually got food poisoning this year. About several months ago, we ate out at a restaurant, and within 12 hours, I was deathly ill. And I knew as soon as it started what had happened. So I want to give some of the tips that are so important. First and foremost, anytime you're in the kitchen preparing food, wash your hands. Wash your hands for a minimum of 20 seconds. And it's important not just to wash your hands when you first start preparing food, but throughout the whole process of preparing food. So we don't want to cross-contaminate. So if I touch raw meat, let's say raw chicken, or I'm making hamburgers, raw ground beef, as soon as I am finished touching that and doing what I need to do to it, I need to go wash my hands again with hot soapy water, because I don't want to cross-contaminate from any harmful bacteria that the raw meat could have had on it. Our important temperatures to remember are our danger zone temperatures, and that's 40 degrees to 140 degrees. The danger zone means that is the span of temperature that bacteria thrives in, and it grows in that. Whenever we have food out, let's say on the counter, and it's between that 40 degrees and 140 degree temperature, we have 2 hours before that needs to get in the refrigerator. So it's very, very important that we remember that. If we're at a picnic and it's hot outside, we don't even have 2 hours. Our picnic items that are out, we only have 1 hour before harmful bacteria can really start to multiply. Another important tip is don't rinse raw chicken. Don't rinse it before you cook it. And that's something that years ago, cooks thought you had to rinse raw chicken. Well, what happens is, if that raw chicken happens to have salmonella bacteria on it, the only way to kill it is by cooking that chicken to the right temperature. Rinsing it does no good to remove that bacteria. And in fact, what happens when you rinse chicken under running water in your sink, everywhere, if that chicken has salmonella bacteria on it, everywhere that water splashes, salmonella will go. All over your sink, all over your backsplash, on your hands. So again, don't rinse raw chicken before you cook it. Also, try to start using plastic cutting boards. They're so good because you can just load those in the dishwasher and wash them and clean them so much better. Never use a wooden cutting board when you're cutting up raw meat, because a wooden cutting board is porous, and if that raw meat has bacteria on it, those juices are going to soak into your wooden cutting board, and it's forever contaminated. Don't use the same cutting board for raw meat that you're going to use for your fresh fruits and vegetables, because again, you would be cross-contaminating those items. Remember, when you're going to eat fresh fruits and vegetables, they're not going to be cooked. They need to be cleaned in a solution of 1 part white vinegar to 3 parts water. And I also have a video on how to do that. It's very quick, very simple, and it's a 99% bacteria kill when you do that. Also, remember to cook foods to the correct temperature. The recommended temperatures for whole cuts of pork, 145. Ground meat needs to be cooked to 160, and poultry needs to be cooked to 165. Ground meat should never be cooked medium rare. So if anyone ever asks you how you want your hamburger cooked, you need to always say, well done. There should be no pink in that ground meat. And I know I've had people say, well, why can't I eat my steak medium rare, but I should not eat a hamburger medium rare? Well, here's why. Ground beef, or beef in general, can have E. coli on it. It's a very dangerous bacteria. And again, the only way to kill that harmful bacteria is by cooking that meat to the correct temperature. But E. coli is a surface bacteria. So on our steak, because it's a whole cut of meat, As long as we cook the outside thoroughly to the right temperature, we're going to kill that E. coli. But what happens when the butcher makes our ground beef? He takes a steak or a roast and puts it through the meat grinder. So if that steak or roast had E. coli on the outside of it, it's all ground up now inside that ground meat. So that's why we need to make sure that we're cooking any ground meat foods, hamburgers, that kind of thing, to the correct temperature. Remember, separate, cook, and chill.